see if I can bring this up. What do you know? That's pretty cool. Look at that. We can't always. I was trying to show them, but I can't show them, but I can show them now.
Yeah. See.
So.
Yeah, it just went. Oh wow.
Yeah. It almost looks real. So.
Yeah.
I gotta turn the volume off on this. This is gonna be this show. Here, you want to hear me again?
Yeah.
This show is going to be a test for the shows to come. This is a show 100. Let's see. I think there's a button on this thing that makes it go the volume go down.
Probably.
Right here. Yeah. See?
Wrong way.
There we go. We'll have it. We'll have a lot more prepped up when we get going. So, look at, they even gave us the hieroglyphics on the top that shows what I'm saying, and I'm talking so much it looks like garbage.
Yeah.
But that's my device, right? Welcome everybody to Tech Talk Taco Tuesday, show number 100. This is we're putting it live on a lot of different platforms right now. Testing out some stuff. We started cranking on this about what time, Matt?
About 5.
5? Yeah. 5. We've had some hard work, as you can see behind us. Logan, good job on the helping with the set. I hope everybody likes it. I'd love to see the comments kind of flowing through the screen, which Matt will do pretty soon.
I can see them on my screen. Can you?
I can't see them on our screen right now. Mine might be kind of a little bit behind on the thing. I'm gonna try this, see what it looks like on the YouTubes. It's still coming soon on YouTube, but that's the latency on this stuff. So we'll have to learn how that works. I think that you know what we might want to do is I could put it on a browser on this screen right over here.
YouTube is working. Let me get the browser up.
Yeah, so go ahead and come over here and type on this thing. So we've done a lot of stuff in the background in the meantime, getting stuff going. So thanks for joining in. Matt, actually, I think, did you print the questions?
No time to print the questions. I'm going to read them off.
We're going to read the questions off as we get going. There were some good questions, though. I'm pretty sure I can find them someplace.
This thing's not connected.
It's no internet. I could probably plug something in. This show will be a shit show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, using bad words already. It's early. This is my last beer. We're probably going to have to get into the tequila, and we will see what other kind of stuff kind of pops into the thing. Jimmy, you might want to grab that thing right over there, that one bottle and that one glass. Yeah. We'll start there. There's really not connected. Look to see if the network cable is plugged into the back of that computer. There are wires. It may look good where we're sitting.
Yeah.
But there are wires going everywhere. Yeah, don't touch any computers when you do this. Here, Logan, do the other part of your job as I keep talking. Make sure there's about that much in there. So we'll welcome you to the motorcycle and motorcycle-related questions on this. Let's go not to the live YouTube. Seems like Facebook's latency is a little bit. I can crawl over there and sign into my good job, Logan. Sign into my thing. Hey, since you don't have a clipboard in front of you, which probably makes you a little uncomfortable, do you remember who sponsors this show? You're definitely out of practice.
KTM, Honda, DDC, Climb,
Takamoto. Who else? That's it for right now. Do you remember any of the reads?
Probably KTM.
Okay, let's hear it.
KTM, powered by a distinct ready-to-race mentality. KTM is the world's leading high-performance street and off-road motorcycle manufacturer, with North American headquarters based in Marietta, California. Over the years, KTM has developed a name on.
Just make it up at this point.
Yeah.
Just kind of rough it. Yep. Good. I can see this stuff. So, yeah. So they've developed a name doing what?
on racetracks around the world.
Brand loyalty or something like that, or
The brand's remarkable global success is reflected in every move it makes and every product it develops.
that's right. And you seem to be liking riding your dad's KTM.
Yeah.
Yeah, more than the Beta. Or is this up to debate?
Debate.
Debate. Okay. Logan was bouncing. Me and Logan have been riding a lot lately.
Yeah.
We've been shooting a lot of videos for the school, and he's been bouncing back and forth between a 300 XC TPI bike and a Beta 300 X Trainer, cross trainer. They call it. What do they call it? X Trainer, cross trainer.
Cross.
So yeah, his legs are getting a little bit longer. But when you go, if Heather's going, which bike would you want to ride?
The 300.
They're both 300s, Logan.
Well, the
Be a little more descriptive.
KTM.
KTM, okay.
Yeah.
If Jimmy says, hey, let's go ride some good trails, which one are you taking?
The X Trainer.
Why?
Most of the hills you go up are a bit gnarly.
Yeah. I was riding a Yamaha, so I've been working on the maps on the WR thanks to Logan, because he loaned me the pipe off his YZ250F so I could do more open pipe maps, and I finally figured out that I couldn't talk. I could get the information out of the bike, but I couldn't talk back to it because my Power Tuner app was set to WR250F, which the bike is. And I was asking, like, why wouldn't they? Said it should work. And so I went and I deleted the app and reloaded it, and all of a sudden, down a little bit farther, way down farther, there was WR250F competition ECU. And I'm like, oh, that one. And now I can send maps because the United States bike is a little more locked up. So now I can send maps to that bike. And I actually got the stock one was really good because it was basically, if you leave it stock, it's like FX.
Yeah.
And FX is a really good bike. But I started playing around with it and got some, like, at the end of the day, I was kind of happy with one of the maps I'd built. And I wanted to do a video on it, but we got too busy doing other stuff like chasing Preston Campbell around. How was that?
That was fun.
Yeah, so he's Preston Campbell is Johnny Campbell's kid, going to the ISDE. Got his poster up on the wall there, and so he was doing some little bit of training for special tests, and that was a good time. So selling shirts. Yeah, I needed to repost that. Hopefully, if I remember, if I had somebody that would remember things for me, I should give you access to the Dirt Bike Test. Facebook page, and you should repost that stuff, the Instagrams and all that thing, because I know, like, in between cartoons, because cartoons are short because you don't have a big attention span.
Yeah.
You could, like, just quickly, while the commercials are on, they're trying to get you to eat ho-hos and gummy juicies or whatever it is, you could quickly get on the internets and do that stuff. Let's see. How's the sound? Sounds good. The people in the chat room are saying sounds good. I know it depends on what you're hearing versus, because you're hearing it from the show. Oh, look at that. We've got producer Matt in the house here. So producer, technical director, he can figure things out on the internet like 70% faster than me?
Us. Yeah.
Oh, good good to include yourself there. And so now all of the people that were complaining about us not being on YouTube, we're there. We're going to be on Twitch. We're going to be wherever we can, really. And so you don't have to wait anymore. You'll get your live Tech Talk Taco Tuesday, or it'll be archived and saved in these different platforms, and you can watch it. This is where we got to learn what to do. Like, when we shut this off, we may need to make sure that those streams get saved.
We're recording the stream right now through softwares.
Okay. The softwares.
Yeah. Well, one of them.
One of the softwares.
I'm losing track. We got a lot going on.
This is kind of like the internet. It's a lot of pipes and tubes. Kind of like underneath this table, there are a lot of pipes and tubes flowing around with different things that we will find a place for. We'll have more. You need to get us our Tacosaurus.
Tacosaurus?
Yeah, it needs to come over here. You don't need to be fiddling with that. So,
I'm fiddling with Travis.
see, we're building the set as we go. Yeah, we'll take Travis too. Travis can come on over.
Do you want the RM that makes sounds?
I guess you did. Logan used to play with that too much, but
Yeah.
It kind of sounds like water going down the drain.
Just have a 125 piston to play with.
Okay, here you handle that. You don't talk very much. So thanks for joining us for 100 episodes. Let's see. Can
I
you?
want to try transition really quick.
Okay, we're gonna try transition. Is that when I look at the camera and do the Max Steel voice or something?
You know, give it your best shot.
Okay,
Oh, there we go. Yeah, it's working.
it's working.
I think the transition's working. I'm gonna try Logan. I think that camera might still be down.
Logan's just playing with toys. It's
Yeah.
okay.
The camera's still down, so we'll go back to the wide shot.
That camera's not working.
So 2 for 3.
2 for 3 is not too bad. A big shout out to Mevo cameras and a good friend of mine, Nate, who has been helping us out. Since the beginning. Actually, the whole time we've been doing Tech Talk, we've been using Mevo cameras. We started with the little round one, which I think is the first gen, and now we're using the Mevo Starts. And the system we have here is so incredible. What did you say? Kind of lucky that it's all there. It's all working, so good. And I saw one question from Chris Reel that came up there. He asked if the helmet up on top was the one that was crashed. Was that the smashed helmet that was in the office, or that was the good one? It was hanging on the hook.
They were all good.
Well, no, there is one of those helmets, that white Climb helmet that Chris Reel was wearing and smashed the what out of it and came out okay. And he gave it to me.
I don't think so. I don't think it was that one.
Okay, no, because it's kind of down on the bottom on the floor. That one that's the one I wear when I drive the UTV. Actually, I wore it when we were shooting video the other day, I think, wasn't I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Adventure helmet.
Yeah, the Adventure helmet. And so, no, Chris, that one's, I still have yours. Actually, the visor on that may be, no, I don't remember. The visor might be the one off of it or something. I know I stole some. Oh, I know what I stole. I stole the screws. Like, you know how the helmets always lose screws when you're hooking GoPros and stuff up to them. So, yeah, that's that one. I think it'd be better if I wasn't always looking over there at this thing, but I can see it. I can get the questions. We need to move that someplace over here in the future. So let me see if I can somehow get questions on this thing. I'm never seeing on my feed, Matt. I'm never really seeing the questions pop
'Cause
up.
I think you're just looking at Mevo, not OBS.
Yeah.
No, I'm not seeing that. Oh, I know what, because I have closed captions on. So Logan, turn that off for me. Our next sponsor is Honda. Honda is the maker of the. We better get me a clipboard,
Right there.
so we can figure the reads out. Honda's new 2021 CRF450R. We'll make that 2022 CRF450R because they're the same and they're an out. Is designed to take you straight from the starting gate to victory circle. This awesome open-class motocrosser features an all-new chassis, a major engine overhaul, new suspension, and new bodywork. You can forget about clutch fade, adjusting, or hand fatigue with the new hydraulic clutch system. Lighter than ever, the CR450R explodes out of corners when it's time to increase your lead. So get down to your local Honda dealer and check out the 2021 CR450R or go to mx.honda.com to see their full lineup of competition bikes. And Logan, you know what the CR450R is for?
Closed course operation only.
Correct. Yeah, closed course operation only. You should check out the CR450RX. That's a nice bike. I actually got to ride Preston's CR250RX this weekend, and that is a very fun bike. We have tests on those bikes up on Dirt Bike Test as well. If you want to see what we really think about them, more than just saying that they're fun, but if you really want to know if that bike's for you, you can check out our tests there. Also, we just posted some stuff out of our One and Done digital magazine. I think there's a Tenere test up there, the Yamaha Tenere. There's a Gas 300 trials bike test. All the stuff we do. So if you're not familiar with Dirt Bike Test, you go to, where do you go to find Dirt Bike Test?
Dirtbiketest.com.
Right. It's on the internets. And it's hard to type in if it doesn't just feed it to you on some social platform. But you actually might learn something there, kind of like if you listen to this show. Please post the WR250F maps that you liked. I will. I promise you I will. I'm not done. But here's the interesting thing about mapping, and I'm sure we'll have some questions, or I always get questions about this. I sort of made a joke too, because like when the magazines and stuff do all this testing, they always say, oh, you know, with the Yamaha stuff, you always get a map, like with the motocross bikes. There's the Super Bro Dude 101 map, and there's the factory test rider guy map this, and then Motocross Action comes out with a map that, and then you know, whatever and people say, give me that map. It's got to be good. It's got to be better than stock. And oftentimes I find that the stock maps are actually really good. And the reason they allow you to adjust this stuff, and it's funny because KTM until recently would always say, we don't have a tool like that because our maps are we give you the best map in the stock bike. You can't make it better. That was their answer. But this tool is popular, so now all of a sudden KTM has an apping thing. I haven't used it yet, but now they're allowing you to change some stuff. And it's a super, super useful feature, but it's used to customize, because for the majority of people, the stock maps are usually pretty good. That's the way they design the stock bike, just like the stock suspension settings are generally pretty good. So when everybody wants, and if you just want the app or the map that I have to go try it, that's great. But I would be willing to bet if you played with it, you could make it better for you than I could make it for you, like my map for you. Not to say that if I went riding with you and you told me, I could go, oh, that's this and that's that. And when I do this video on WR, and we have someplace on Dirt Bike Test, there's a how to adjust your tuner, your ignition tuner, or your fuel tuner, and the symptoms of what they do. Did you get that thing fixed, or you can't
Couldn't get 'em off,
you can't
but
get
I think
closed
they're
captions
smaller.
off? Uh-huh. There's
You-
do you think, can you read that?
No.
No. We need to make that comment window bigger. Just go ahead and blow out the You know what? Maybe the comments only need to come up when you're on the single cam. Does that make sense? So
Yeah, so when I'm on, so
when it's on Jimmy,
you. So
yeah,
on Jimmy,
you could make the
Got it.
single comments come up.
yeah, because it's been, I've been trying to play with it.
Right. So
We'll figure it
okay,
out.
so Maria Tim Marshall said he or she, or actually that's a pretty good time to use they, because that was the name on Facebook. They like the all zeros map and it depends on what bike you're using. Is it a WR, and does it have the competition ECU, and what exhauster you're running? Because I definitely like something different on the stock versus because I had these maps I built with the stock pipe, and those are the ones you put in there. Remember, you were able to talk to it somehow,
Yeah.
and I gave you some maps, and you guys played around with them. Remember, I sent you maps, and you guys sent them
Yeah.
into it, and that was the last time we were able to send in, because I think something changed. I don't know,
Yeah.
or you selected the right one and I didn't. So, yeah, we need to get rid of closed captions on this thing.
See, I think you have to get that because you're the host. I think that you edit the whole thing where no one can get it.
Oh, okay, but everybody can get it. I think everybody can get closed captions. Yours looks good. Mine looks like hieroglyphics.
Yeah.
You should see this. Look at the hieroglyphics I got going on there. Which camera is it on? I don't know.
Big one.
The big one in the middle. So that's the hieroglyphics I'm seeing. It looks like the writing from that I show you the questions.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did the questions come out?
You want questions?
Yeah, from that post maybe.
Yeah, I can read you my question.
Oh, okay, yeah. Read me your question.
Okay, so it's not tech, so I'll just read. So I know you don't talk about racing, but I'm wondering if you have any opinions on the FIM no longer sanctioning the Supercross series. I know many see this as a positive, but I only know what I've heard from another podcast in Vegas.
Right. So I didn't even know this was a thing.
This just happened.
So FIM is no longer sanctioning the U.S. Supercross series.
Yes, correct.
So what I would guess, just from since I've been in this for a while, I don't really talk about racing, and there's way better podcasts to listen to if you want to. But I would guess that the FIM is looking at sanctioning their own Supercross series.
I
which is simply economics. I mean, there's a lot of money in that, and it'll be interesting to see how that Supercross series compares to the ones where all the best riders go to, which tends to be the one that's run by Feld and kind of the AMA. But I don't know. It's so funny. I mean, I like watching Supercross. It's pretty awesome, but in reality, it's sort of the same thing every week if you take the battling away, the battling and the racing away. It's kind of, I mean, there was some variety in the tracks this year with some of those more outdoorish stadium tracks and stuff. But I definitely prefer the outdoors. You know, just from a after I watch 5 Supercrosses, I mean, I watch it to see the racing, and I hope there's good racing. But let me tell you, if the top 3 guys get out, spread out by 2 seconds, and just start doing laps, it's kind of boring, you know, frankly. But we have been having, and we, you know, continue to have really good racing. So yeah, that's what I think. I think they're probably lobbying to do their own series. I don't know. Maybe they can make it better. Actually, who knows?
I got more questions.
Oh, you got more questions?
Yeah, I got a lot of questions.
Okay.
So,
we need to get you a mic. In
yeah,
fact,
I
There's-
realize that.
okay, so you can do this while you're over there.
Okay.
Actually, Jimmy can help.
Let me
There,
read you this question while Jimmy gets this.
there's a mic there. Yep, that one has a cord coming out of it. And if we put that next to Matt and we give me the plug, and I can plug it in here, and I can pot him up and get him all good. Plug your ears, because this could make a loud pop. Okay, here we go. It's live on the fly. Make shit happen.
Okay.
There we go. Okay, check in, Matt. How you doing?
You let me know. 'Cause I can't hear
Flip the
myself.
switch on top of the mic. Okay, how we doing there?
Testing.
Yeah, I'm not hearing you.
Testing.
No.
I'm not seeing
No.
the light. Come on.
Yeah, try it both ways. Try it one. Talk straight into that thing.
Testing.
Other way.
Testing,
There we.
testing.
Yep.
Hello.
Got me?
Yeah.
Got you. How's that? Does that sound better out there in the internet's world?
Yeah, you have to. I can't hear myself, so it's up to the chat.
Right. He's level with us now.
Testing.
Yeah, right
Sounds
Can you
pretty
hear
good.
me?
Hey, show 101 is going to be really good. I promise you. we had, if we didn't do this right now,
Yeah.
we wouldn't do it until we did it right now. I was like, it's too hot to go riding here, but there's a lot of other projects to work on. But this has been burning a hole in us for a while. So
Yeah.
okay, go ahead. Question number 2.
Number 2. So this question comes from David Potts. He's wondering what is the deal with the broken Husqvarna subframes, and why isn't Husky standing up and taking care of this problem? 2 of them broke in the Sonora rally without crashes. Pretty sure everyone who owns one will experience this problem, without crashing being the cause.
I doubt that everyone is going to break, number 1. A Sonora rally would be probably one of the most extreme things you could do on that bike, period. So, and I know a couple of the riders that were riding those bikes, and they are plus-sized humans. They're bigger than the average guy. The other thing about the Sonora Rally is you're riding in sand dunes, and anybody who's ridden in sand dunes knows that you G out and hit things, jump off things, and smash things pretty hard. So that's like kind of an extreme case. Are they standing behind it? I don't know. If it was a real problem, you would hear about it more. This is just like every single KTM TPI bike will seize. How's yours doing? Perfect? Yeah. Everyone that I've ridden, perfect. George's, perfect. But you still hear that they all do these things. So, yeah, at the extreme end, you can break almost anything. When you start seeing a superseded or an updated part, that would give you the information that, yeah, maybe they designed it a little bit weaker. And I'm not, like, standing up for Husky. I ride KTMs and Husabergs, by the way. Yeah, where's your bell? My Husaberg frame is more delicate than, because it's a gas tank. It was built by an aftermarket company. But anyways, it's a whole nother story, because that thing makes so much power. You know how you make power on a Husaberg, Logan?
Twisting the throttle,
Yeah, and what happens when you twist the throttle?
whiplash, and then you get more.
No, yeah,
throttle.
of course, if you're on Husaberg, on for sure. But like, what makes the power?
The 47-degree angle on the motor.
70 degree, so that's wrong. But gasoline.
Yeah.
Gasoline goes in there, and that thing uses so much gas, you have to make the subframe into a gas tank, kind of like a rally bike. Leave it to me to roll it back into a Husaberg discussion, right? But I think for the regular guy, it's not necessarily a problem. I'm surprised the aftermarket hasn't built some sort of little bolt-on reinforcement thing. I have seen pictures of these things breaking, just like I've seen pictures of seized KTM two-strokes, TPI bikes, and so it does happen. But everybody starts talking about it, and I don't think it's necessarily that big of a deal. I'm pretty sure that if you make sure your bolts are tight, torqued properly, I could imagine if you over torqued bolts, that would cause a pinch on something that's kind of composite or not, not aluminum, that could cause it to break. So, yeah, I mean, they're racing Huskies in the GNCCs, and I don't see guys going out with broken subframes, and I'm pretty sure the factory, motocross and supercross guys are riding them, and they would, if you saw them breaking, you would see them, you would see it live on TV, and we're not really seeing this, and those guys are hitting that stuff hard. So, just my 2 cents worth. Did I answer the question, Matt?
I believe you did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm listening to you in one ear and then you again on the other ear. So
That must be horrible.
It's really bad because I
It's-
hear you twice.
it's
And I've
almost-
been listening to you so many times ever since we've done those video shoots.
Oh.
I'm
It's
kind of tired of your voice.
It's probably just as bad as having to watch it. Watch me. If Logan's camera's up, we would have Logan's camera up, and then all the girls would like join in. And did you get all your girlfriend and all of her friends to double tweet us or whatever they do? Tag us on
Not yet.
what's WhatsApp? Is that what we're doing? Can we go live on WhatsApp?
think maybe
TikTok?
I don't know. TikTok, you
TikTok?
definitely can.
Yeah.
TikTok's the way to get to the Gen Zers, which
Well,
that's
then
me and
you
Logan, so I can't.
Logan, you'll probably have to like do the pre-show on TikTok.
Yeah.
You just, how do you do it? Just stand there and wave like this for like 14 seconds, and then everybody likes it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Then we're good. Then we've hit that market.
Yeah.
Good, because all the advertisers are after that. Okay.
You want another question?
Sure.
All right, so this one
You have
comes.
to answer this one, Logan.
So this one comes from Christian Gorgon. Hope I'm pronouncing the last name right.
Oh well, how do you spell it?
Gorgon.
Gorgon. Yeah.
Yeah, Gorgon.
Yeah.
Gorgon, okay.
Cool. So his question. I'm sorry. I have a Husaberg / Recluse question. I recently
Ooh,
acquired a 2010.
That's okay. That's hitting on some. Recluse. They're a sponsor of the
Yeah,
show. We forgot to
they
mention
are.
that.
That's why I picked it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you
Shameless
got
plug.
so you know how there's like keywords that search really well, and
Yeah.
triggers. That we'll call those triggers. You just triggered us. Go ahead.
Yeah. All right. So I recently acquired a 2010 FX450, and it has a Recluse Core 3.0 clutch. The clutch sometimes chatters / grinds during engagement. It's more pronounced when letting the clutch lever out and rolling out the throttle. I know I don't need to let the clutch out with a Recluse, but I still like to use it like a regular clutch when I can. This seldom happens, but it's quite unnerving when I hear that noise from the engine cases. Thanks.
Judder. It's clutch judder. So I suspect that at some point the clutch got really hot, borderline smoked, and it's kind of glazed, and so it's, instead of engaging smoothly, it takes more pressure, and then it does kind of like a skip. And I know in a normal clutch pack they actually have a judder spring, or a lot of the clutch packs they have a judder spring that kind of helps this in some way, or sometimes it makes it way worse. And in my experience, clutch packs that have a judder spring, if they get smoked, they do it worse. So I would actually go in there and take a look at the clutch plates. Make sure that the fibers aren't, burnt or kind of polished, and that the metals are not, glazed, and maybe just replace those. That would be the first thing I would do. the other thing is, if your free play gain isn't proper, that could lead to this symptom as well sometimes. But if your free play is engaging properly and all that's good, yeah, it's so easy to just pull the plates out and take a look at them and then just replace them, and you should be fine. But I don't know that that's really. I have some older KTM's that will do this, that have the Recluses in them, but they're mostly the old ball bearing ones. Remember what are they called? The
ball ring.
Z Start. Yeah,
Z-Start Pro.
they're called Z Start Pros. Yeah, those tend to do this a little bit more, and I don't know exactly why, but I think there's a reason they went to EXP.
They had on the old Z-Start Pros, you could get the little kit with the little rubber donuts that you could put in there that stopped that chattering.
Right, the rubber donuts went.
Rubber donuts that went down. I forgot.
Where did they go? Because you think about the way that a ball would work activating those things. Maybe, yeah. Let me turn that down because I think that noise is coming through. I don't know if we just kill it and we'll just fry in here. There's a remote control right down there. You're right down by your hand. Yeah. So actually, hand it to me. I can probably control it over here somehow, way, shape, or form. Okay, next question, Matt.
All right, so this is going to come from Tony Reyes. My WR250F stock suspensions feels harsh on terrain with loose rocks regardless of how stiff or soft I set it up. Currently using stiff soft terrain tires.
Okay, roll back. Bike again?
The bike?
Yeah.
WR250F.
Okay. Did he give you a year?
No year.
Okay.
All right,
They made those for a long time, but anyways, go ahead.
All right, so he's currently using a soft terrain tires, HD tubes at 12 psi. How much would intermediate tires with softer sidewalls and compound combined with the tubeless help in the rocks? Trying to delay full suspension revalve / spring job.
He said soft terrain tires was his original.
Yeah, so he was using stiff soft terrain tires.
Stiff, soft terrain. I wonder what tire that is. Is this was a question from earlier today?
Yeah, this is from. I'm still pulling questions off of that Facebook post.
Okay. So if Tony's on there, tell me what year WR, because that'll help a bunch, because they've changed a bunch. Because basically, if it's quite a bit older, I'm suspecting it's newer, but if it's quite a bit older, Yamaha used to spring those WRs and set them up a little bit soft, and they tended to pack down in the suspension, making the suspension that was, quote, soft act harsh. So I always found that kind of stiffening them up a little bit tended to make them act softer. So
He just put in the chat 2019.
oh, so new one. Okay,
Yeah,
so the
yeah.
new one they're better. So the 19 was better. So they're holding that bike up now. So stiffer sidewalls. He's and hopefully he puts in the chat what Tony throw. I can see your thing over there. Throw the type of tires in there, because I'll always say Kenda tires, won't I?
Yeah.
But it's a good answer.
Yeah.
What was on the back of that bike you were riding on the? What was the back of your KTM 300?
Kenda.
Yeah, you got to get the front.
Yeah.
Huh? No, it doesn't.
No.
It's that stock tire.
No, it's Michelin.
Oh, Michelin. Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that one of those purchases while you're all topped up on? You're ordering from the hospital bed after the. What was that stuff? Who knows where that
They're-
stuff came from?
They're stock tires, he said.
They're stock. Oh, the stock tires on the Yamaha. Oh yeah, you can do better. Yeah, for sure. So I think I think they were the. Wow, and if it's 2019 and it's still stock, the tires have stiffened up.
Yeah.
So, in all honesty, so I'll be brutally honest here. I always am. The tire I always went to as a go-to when I wanted a little bit more bump compliance was the Michelin. The Michelin tended to have a little bit more absorption in the sidewall. So it's the mid-soft, or no, that's the Pirelli. So the Michelin was the MX Extra, and they had a intermediate, not MX Extra. What's a Michelin? What's their Starcross? Starcross 5. They have a Starcross 5 soft intermediate tire that actually has pretty good bump compliance, and then a lot of their enduro tires are also pretty soft as well. Not the normal go-to for that, but I'm thinking of some of the other tires that are softer that would help this. Michelin's the first choice for that. They just seem to have softer sidewalls, and then running a softer mousse on almost any tire can help. And it just depends on the age of the mousse and the stiffness of the tire, and it's just a balancing act to kind of get where you're at. I would say if you're not really sure, the best thing to do is keep running tubes, and then play with the pressures. And then when you start learning how a pressure correlates with how a mousse breaks down, like the mousses usually start at about 12 psi and they work their way in useful life down to about 8, you can kind of know that if you have a brand new mousse, like whether it's a Michelin or like a nitro mousse, and they start out at this pressure, you put that in a softer tire, and then that mousse breaks down, and then you can put it in a stiffer tire and get sort of the same feel. So, when you have a lot of tires and a lot of wheels and a lot of mousses, this is an easy thing to do. But if you just start budgeting your mousse use and your tire use, and you're using it a lot, which maybe you're not, based on a 2019 with stock tires, I would stick with the tubes, because it's so adjustable there, and then you can adjust the pressure. I would even try going a little bit lower pressure. I'm not sure what you're running in that WR currently, but make sure you're around 12, 11 and a half, 12 to start with, and that might make a big difference. I know a lot of guys are just so afraid of flats that they run like 16 and 18, and I'm like, wow, that's kind of ridiculous. But you don't get flats.
So he had one other question. I wasn't really paying attention the whole time because I was looking for questions. He had also asked if tubeless system would help.
Yes and no. So tubeless systems are good in that you can run a lot lower pressure without the fear of pinching your tube, but at the same time, if you're pinching your tube, you're hitting stuff hard enough to dent your rim, in my experience. So I've run tubeless, I still have it on a lot of bikes, and it's just a finicky system. If I was like doing a lot of stuff where I wanted really low air pressure and I didn't have the access to worn out mousses, which I tend to do, I would run a tubeless system. That would be, I want to run really low pressure, and I'm not going to be, smacking into stuff and hurting stuff. What are you hearing, Logan? What's wrong with our setup?
I don't know. I
That thing?
thought I heard second voice, but
Did I have a little gas?
no. Like one of the volumes is up.
Oh. Matt, your maybe you're hearing the feedback out of Matt's microphone, out of the ear. See, like the ear that's
Yeah.
up like this?
Yeah. Yeah, it's gone.
Back. It's gone now.
Yeah.
No, it's gone. Okay, yeah. So hold on a second. I'm going to drop you down a little bit. I'll bring Matt up when we need to.
I can turn it down over here too.
No, you're fine. We got you covered. This is a test. This is only a test of the Tech Talk Taco Tuesday broadcasting system.
It's show test 100.
It's just 100 shows. We should have just gone to Romero's, set up one of those cameras, and sat back and had a couple suds. Tacos and suds. That way Bob wouldn't have screwed up completely. Where's my tacos, Bob? You know how hungry I am?
I got something better for you.
Those are naranjas.
Right.
No, I want tacos.
Yeah, except that I didn't get your message until it was way too late.
You're 2-3 blocks away from a good taco shop. There's taco shops on almost every corner.
Oh, I was
Yeah.
gonna go to Romero's.
You need to hang out with Jimmy. He'll show you the local lines around here. The other Jimmy.
I saw there was a
Great sandwich shop.
place that sold
Papusas. Oh, that's over on Homestead, or not Home, on Plum Valley. Yeah, that place is pretty good. Not as good as Romero's, because the bartender there is awesome. So,
But their pupusas, like, good.
okay. So what else are we talking about? Okay, did we answer that question?
Yep, I believe we did. I have another one for you.
So Tony, I see the comment. He says the Starcross 5 is exactly what he was considering. Thanks for confirming. What about tubeless? Will that help as well? Yes. I would just go Starcross 5 and tubes. Just call it good and see how you like them, and I think you'll be moderately impressed. And if your suspension is starting to feel soft or harsh, try stiffening it up a little bit, and it might help it ride up a little bit higher in the stroke, and always bleed the air out, right, Logan?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when we were riding this weekend, my factory mechanic, kept picking at him to take care of my bike. And what was I picky about?
Suspension, gas, and
Yeah, you got to have gas in the bike. That's number
Yeah.
one. Yeah, and suspension, get the air out of the forks.
yeah,
Yeah, made a big difference.
good.
Went pretty fast for an old dude, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, next question.
All right, so this is from Joseph Hahn. Hi, Logan and Jimmy. Logan was not in parentheses. My brother purchased his first two-stroke to play around on the 2004 RM250. His previous experience is mostly on XR 400R and a WR 250R.
We're slow, but like to trail ride technical trails in Kentucky and Indiana. So, one, with modifications, how similar to a KTM 250 EXC can this be made? Will it even be close? And two, what are some modifications that you'd recommend to tame it down a little? It already has a flywheel weight and suspension work.
What year arm 250?
2004.
Okay, so those bikes were the same for kind of in this realm forever.
I hear that bike can do double backflips.
That's Travis.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah. So those the funny two-stroke motors are pretty easy to make do almost anything. So I'm guessing that if you put like a spark arrestor on it, like a good quieter muffler, that tames it down. And I don't know what year KTM you're talking about. If you're talking about a KTM from the same era, they're going to be pretty similar. The thing that the KTMs have just improved on over and over and over is they've got the jetting and the carburation and the power delivery down so nice because they were competing against four strokes. And since 2004, the four strokes have come a long way, and they tried to keep up with the two strokes. And these little changes they've made have made the bikes just so much more rideable. I'm thinking that on the RM, I don't know how you can adjust the power valve. Can you play with the power valve on that one? If there was a company that made some spring kits for the power valve, that was always something you could do to do it. I don't know if you can add some spring preload. Maybe even if they don't make kits for it, you could find out what the spring that's activating the power valve is doing inside the case, and that's the best way to really tune the power of a two-stroke is by kind of adjusting when the power valve opens and closes, for sure. But things like gearing, you're always dealing with a motocross gearbox, so it's not going to have the range of a KTM EXC, for instance. But it's not going to be down on power by any means. It might just be Moto Tassinari V-Force reeds was also another really good modification to almost any two-stroke. So I would consider doing that. What do you think, Logan? He asked you.
Oh,
Graphics kit?
yeah,
You sure?
no. Bleed the air out of your forks.
That's good. I like the talk. I want to see the action. Yeah.
He should get the Perump
graphics kit, which is just spray paint from Home Depot.
Yeah,
Well, that's what you got to do when the bike gets stolen.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
black, right? or forest green.
yeah. No, the forest green is only if it's a Kawasaki.
Okay, next question.
All right, so this is from Dan K. It's, hey, Jimmy, is chain lube necessary on an O-ring chain or maybe some WD to prevent corrosion?
So, my chain maintenance. Yeah, Logan, take it. When do you lube the chain?
right before you wash it. Wash the bike.
But when the bike's warm, like when you're
Yes.
done with your ride. Well, you always end up washing the bikes after the school, so the bikes
Yeah.
are still. They've just come off of a 5 or 6 mile road ride essentially to get back here.
Yep.
So lube the bike when
Warm.
warm, and that way the chain lube goes, it has a better chance to kind of absorb and penetrate things when things are warm or expanded. So is it necessary in an O-ring chain? Some people will say no. I don't think you're actually squirting lube into the chain, like past the O-rings, until the chain's pretty worn. So in a lubing, like lubing where you would want the lube to go essence, not really. But there's some lubrication that'll do a little bit more for kind of just corrosion and, just protection. So it's probably not bad to put on there. You just don't want to put something that's sticky that's going to attract dirt and dust onto the chain, too much. So, but if it can get on there and dry up, that's why I tend to prefer some of the chain waxes if I'm going to put something on a chain, because then it kind of gets in there and then protects it, and it's not sticky when it finally dries up. But for sure, and a lot of times I used to just throw, like I said, some of the penetrant, not really penetrant lube, but WD-40, like, a water repellent on the chain, and that would keep them going. And I mean, I get a lot of miles out of chains, but we're not riding in that harsh of a condition for chains out here. It kind of also depends on where you're at. But when they start getting worn out, the more they start wearing, the more the lube actually gets in there and does something. So, question answered?
I believe so.
Okay.
All right. Ready for another one, or do you have another segment?
We were supposed to build segments for this.
Yeah.
Okay, what was your segment, Logan?
I was agreeing with you. I don't have one.
Well, remember we talked about show notes on 99. Where's your show notes?
Oh, on that giant clipboard?
No, this is my notes from the last 20 episodes.
I can just keep reading you questions.
We can do that, but I think Logan needs to come up. We've got a segment where I'm going to have you do some marketing for me. In fact, there was a guy that he wanted to sell us something. I don't know what it was, but I need to get you on the horn with that guy. We need to record it. See, this is what we're going to learn. We're going to learn how to bring the pre-recorded stuff in, and we just let it roll.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, next question.
Okay, so this is going to come from Victor, I believe, on Andrade, or we'll just go Victor A.
Oh, well, Victor A, yeah.
Victor A. Sorry, I see he's in the chat, so please don't
he's
please don't
also
massacre me.
He's also usually gets put in Facebook jail after commenting on Tech Talk Taco Tuesday.
Really? Oh.
Yeah.
Well, was this? He said my AT-AS tends to pop and backfire sometimes, even after warmed up.
Africa Twin AT Africa Twin AS Auto Shift.
I believe.
Okay.
Okay. So it tends to pop and backfire sometimes, even after warmed up. Took it to the dealer. They couldn't replicate the situation. Then I read that Honda makes them run lean. Can it be reprogrammed so the temp sensor gets lower temperature and enriches the mixture?
I don't know, man. I've never really heard of a lot of the adventure bikes wanting to do all of the remapping and retuning, because the bike has a lot of power. But I understand where you're coming from. So it pops on decel, I suspect, and he thinks it's just lean.
I believe so. That's what that's the vibes I'm getting from what he says here.
Yeah. Does it have a stock exhaust? Yeah. Does it have a stock exhaust? And if not, is there an exhaust leak? And usually those pops don't really affect the way that the bike runs. It's more just an audio thing. So, and I would not try to adjust something to. I mean, there's you can go down a deep dive on the different forums, and every Larry, Bob, and Harry has a setup or a tune or something they can do. It would probably be no problem to test some of that, as long as you can come back from it, as long as you can put it back. It's funny. I'd never really. I mean, yeah, sure they're lean-ish to pass emissions and stuff like that, but I never really noticed that being that much of a problem. But I don't know if I've ridden that specific gear. You like hearing your headphones?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he says that everything's stock and it shuts off when it pops.
Oh, it stalls.
Yeah.
and he took it back to the dealer, and that wasn't idle speed, or there's a sensor in there that actually is causing it to be, super lean. But and I'm pretty sure it's fly by wire. So
He said there was someone had mentioned something about a booster plug in the Africa Twin forms.
yeah, I'm sure there's 20 or 30 different. Like I said, there's probably things that they do to modify it. In my experience, in all of my experience, when you start trying to compensate by, changing the throttle position sensor or changing something, you're going to make it a little bit better in some areas, but you're making it a little bit worse in others. And I don't know that it necessarily kind of completely cures the problem. It's just it's a workaround, and I don't know. I'm not that familiar with that bike. Logan, you got to research that.
The
Remember the question?
like search
Search?
what he wants. Or
Well, it's like when Daffy Duck starts flapping his wings around or something, and then you have to answer the question. I don't know. I'm gonna put Matt in that seat real quick. You're gonna be over there pushing on. It'd be a black screen.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
just thinking. I think next show we need a camera for the producer.
Oh, well, I'll just go over there and point Logan's at yours if it would work. Maybe we're lucky your camera's not working right now. It looks like it's green. I'm not sure what's happening here.
Is it?
Yeah, connected. Okay.
So I'm gonna switch to a YouTube comment I found.
Oh, good.
Because I know you normally put one in that kind of pats yourself on the back a little bit.
Never.
So I got one for you
You're
here.
gonna talk about me now, Logan.
It's from Motocross Hideout. It's from your Beta 200 RR video.
Okay.
It says, "Great review, Jimmy. If I had unlimited funds to buy a new bike, the Beta 200 RR would probably be the one. Does it feel similar and shorter than your KTM 200? Also love the reference to the bike specs."
So onto the bike specs. One of the things in being a journalist for as long as I've been, it's like one of the most arduous things for me to do is to just rewrite what the press release says. Just like they talk about all the different things, and I get it. Maybe some people really want to know all those things, but I could care less. I want to know how it works. I mean, so I sort of, when I test stuff, I test it the way I would want to read it. Essentially, I do that. So Kit Palmer at Cycle News did a really good job of talking about a little bit about the history of the Beta and talked about the improvements and the specs and the chassis changes and all the different things. And I'm like, well, instead of me writing it and taking that time, he did a really good job. Let's, showcase that if you're into that. And then we talk about how the bike works. So the Beta, and this is a Beta characteristic. This is the way that Betas tend to work, is they feel long. They feel like the wheelbase is, let's just say 3 inches longer than a KTM, just for reference. And what's strange about that is if you did ride a KTM that was 3 inches longer, the handling would kind of go out, and it would feel very stable, but it wouldn't turn. And the Betas don't do that. They feel longer, but they still turn, I would say, just as good as a KTM, but without the kind of knifey-ish front end. It's more like a I would say, along the lines of a Suzuki, because Suzukis tend to also turn good but feel stable. And the Betas and the Suzukis have a kind of a similar characteristic there, except, well, no, they're the same. They're both really heavy on the scale, but they act lighter than they are. And then, except the Beta 200 is really light on the scale because it's all based off the 125. So it's a 125 they've made into 200 as opposed to like a, and I was kind of suspecting it was just going to be the 200 motor stuffed in the 300 frame and chassis, and it wasn't. And it made that bike pretty good. You rode it, right, Logan?
Yeah.
A little bit or a lot? Just a little bit.
That we went up the mountain and then your test loop.
Yeah. So you got some good time on it.
Yeah.
Did you like that one?
Yeah.
We were talking about the next bike for him, right? Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Your dad claims you're getting one more bike out of him, and then you're on your own. Yeah. What would a Beta 200 be a good bike for you?
It's a little specific, so like a little more less the flat of Pahrump.
Little more less. Okay, so
So
if you
it's better up in the mountain and a
Right.
little more technical riding.
but not enough. So when you were out riding in the flats, you were wide open, right?
It just
Wasn't fast enough.
not necessarily.
Okay,
It got a little twitchy
got a little twitchy.
for like
Well, you know, it was
Very
set up
good.
for fat guy me. We didn't. You didn't. Did you adjust the spring preload?
no.
So you know how I had it set up,
Yes.
right? Spring preload cranked.
Yes.
Yeah, so it was like this for you. Okay. So it was a little twitchy.
Yeah, just whenever
so
we got
so your throttle can only go to half,
kinda.
kind of. Okay, because if you went to 3/4, it start getting twitchy.
Yeah.
So you never went wide open.
Not really.
So it wasn't fast enough, or it was fast enough.
It
I'm gonna talk him into a Beta 200 in about 10 seconds, right? Well,
I-
you
I
just
would-
got was your KTM 125 fast enough?
yeah.
Was it
It
twitchy?
was no. It just had more up in the top end or faster where I wouldn't want to go,
Uh-huh.
but it has it so it's more stable at a lower speed.
The KTM is.
Yeah. So, just as a the 200 was almost not ringing out, but it was getting
So when it starts coming on the pipe, it got
Yeah.
unstable. And when you're 150, you could get it on the pipe and it was still stable. So you're able to ride the
Yeah,
150
yeah.
or 125 harder.
yes,
See how I just extracted that information?
yeah,
Figured out what he was talking. It's like this is years of talking to test riders and like, what are you trying to tell me? You know, what are we where are we going from here? But I get it.
yeah.
Yeah. So what's your next bike?
He's a lugger. Is what
He's a-
Yeah.
he likes to lug them on him.
You want to lug? Yeah. Well, you're riding 300s around. I wish I could ride 300s at your age.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't. My dad didn't have a KTM 250 TPI or 300 TPI bike. He would interchange at the most opportune moments to let me ride the Beta 300.
Yeah.
That's good times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Did you get the pool cleaned today? Did you clean out the pool? Rake the leaves? Cut some firewood out in the front yard? Change tires on something or other?
Cleaned out the trailer a little bit.
Cleaned out the trail a little bit. Good kid. Okay.
Right.
You weren't over here.
No.
Yeah. Well, somehow me and Matt got it done. It was close.
Well, no, he came in. He came in.
5. It's like showing up to work at like 10:30.
Oh,
How's that
yeah.
work on the construction site?
Not well.
Yeah, you got to get used to that. You better be careful. You're going to be on the construction site. Beer's at 12. Okay, let's go.
All right, so this is a comment from show 99, I believe.
Uh huh.
So this is Adam, I think Niswanger. Let's see here. So Jimmy, please help with this cringeworthy question. For riding in the woods and trails here in Georgia, weighing 200 pounds and possessing minimal skills, would you choose a 200, 250, or 300 Beta for 2022? I'm about to order. Had a 300 before and just felt like it was a waste of power. But if it's just going to be easier, more fun, I'll get another. He made an edit to say money down on a 250. So
Oh, my advice is
yeah.
completely. Yeah, that was where I was going to go. I was going to go just if you're kind of in between. Man, bikes are so good these days. You really, really, really can't go wrong. You're not going to get a bad one. They're all good. It's just you. I always told people it's like you can probably buy the best bike, and it could be the worst one for you because you said, oh, well, the magazine said or this said. So it's kind of like flavors. You know, you've got to learn, and the hard thing is you don't get the opportunities to try all the different bikes. The cool thing is that a lot of the manufacturers, you know, Beta included, now have demo rides. And you can go and try a few bikes of their model line, like at a National Enduro, they have these rides, or some of the different adventure like the Tour Tech Rally will have, Honda and KTM and Harley Davidson this year, for instance, will be there, and you can ride their adventure bikes. And there's nothing better than just to go, even though you can't really ride them the way you want to sometimes. I mean, actually, at the National Enduros, I got to ride a few KTMs a few years back on one of their little demo loops, and it was bitching. It was just like the way we would want to go test the bikes, although not for the length of time. But you got to go take a few bikes around, and they were telling me how successful that program was at selling motorcycles. And you could be the guy going, do I want a 250 or a 300? And I'll sit there and tell you, if you like to lug, 300. If you like to rev, 250. That's the simple answer. But you don't know until you actually go and get the chance to ride the bikes back to back and kind of feel the subtle differences. And as someone who gets to test ride a lot of different bikes, that's the advantage I've had over these years, and that's why I have some of this knowledge to tell you. But unless I knew you, and knew how you rode the person that's asking the question, it's hard for me to recommend. I can just kind of rattle some stuff off, and hopefully our tests, give you those insights to do that. And I tell you what, I always tell people this all the time, like, Jimmy, what's the best bike you've ridden? It's generally the one I'm on 10 minutes after I started riding it. Because when I have the opportunity to choose from different types of bikes, I know the ride I want to go on, and I will pick the right bike for that. That being said, do you ever see me ride motocross bikes out in the trail?
No.
No.
The answer would be never.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I have before because I had to. Do you ever see me take motocross bikes to the track?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry. Yes, all the time.
Yeah, all the time.
Enduro bikes to the track.
No.
Nope. Because they're purpose built.
Yeah.
And and a lot of guys want to do everything with one bike. I want to buy a dual sport bike and I want to take it to the Supercross track. Okay, that's a big ask. You're going to suffer someplace. Something's going to go, wrong. But you just got to say, hey, I do most of my riding here. That's why these in the United States specifically, these XC style bikes, are so popular, because a 300, XC, like the bike that you guys have, I don't know whose it is anymore. You know that bike you stole from your dad? You,
Him. But
yeah.
3 fingers pointing back at me.
3 fingers pointing back at you.
Oh, that's good.
Him.
Right. So you could take that to Sandy Valley right now and rip some
Yeah.
laps, and you could go out here and trail ride, and you can take it up the mountains and trail ride,
Yeah.
and that's what those bikes they're never going to be great at anything except for this. Like, I love those bikes going to a Grand Prix. I wanted to go to the SRA Grand Prix this weekend. Almost did. I wanted to go. I was going to take my YZ125 because I was going to take it to Sandy Valley too, of all things. But we did something else instead. We went riding. So get that 250. Tell us how you like it. And
One thing he did put, he also added, I just want to, I'm going to pat the shows back, not your back, the shows, because Logan's a part of it. And he also said you helped sell a beta and another Recluse. So another sponsor, another, shameless plug.
yeah, good
job.
for him. Yeah, I mean, for most people, I think Recluses are good. I mean, they're. It's funny because the more your ego gets in the way of you allowing yourself to use a Recluse, the more you suffer for not having one. And I've put them in every kind of bike known to man. And there's certain ones I want them in and certain ones I don't. And it's funny is when I start riding my Recluse bikes, I love it, and then I forget and I get on a regular one, and then I go, oh, I wish I would have it in this thing. But you can switch back and forth. It's not that big of a deal. When you have 50 motorcycles, right, Logan?
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't know which. You know why we grabbed the Recluse one? Because it's really easy to ride from here to the other property and carry tools.
Yeah.
And then when we go on really gnarly trail rides, you don't stall. You go up one level in skill. Okay.
Is it time for a sponsor read, or is it time for another question?
Oh yeah, let's do a sponsor read. Speaking of Recluse,
Yeah.
you have the Recluse read all ready to go? It's in your show notes that you did.
Yeah.
Do you remember any of the ones that you did for the other show?
Kind of thinking, and there's the old guy one.
The old guy one.
There's the Supercross one, but I think that's a little.
You know how
I don't know
people
if
you
they're
know how
still on
people
them.
could hear our Recluse commercials? Go and listen to old episodes of this podcast. So if you're just
Yeah.
finding this right now, if you're just tripping across this on whatever social platform we managed to beam it out into space on, you can look on your favorite podcast thing. You can search Tech Talk Taco Tuesday. It will come up, and they may not be as horribly produced as this show.
I was trying to.
You were trying to read it. You were reading a sponsor.
I was
Good
trying
job.
to find sponsor reads.
No,
The one I found was the
no.
Honda one.
This is could be quite possibly one of the best produced shows we've ever had.
Yeah.
If you knew how many technical issues we're overcoming by actually getting this to go out, it's a huge accomplishment. So
We're actually getting smooth transitions between two cameras.
oh, good
Yeah.
job, Matt.
Okay.
I mean, honestly, this is good. But go search Tech Talk Taco Tuesday on any of the iTunes or SoundCloud or whatever you use for your podcasts, and listen to some of the older shows, because a lot of these questions we've answered multiple times in different ways. Hopefully, I'm consistent with my answers. I think I tend to be, but you can learn something. See how much how this has come along. Hopefully, the sound quality is going to be okay.
It's sounding really good.
How are we going to get this? That's the question. Oh, because we're recording it.
We're
and
recording on OBS.
so we can rip the sound and put it onto the Logan.
I've never used this before.
You know exactly what we're talking about, right?
Hopefully.
Hopefully, this is going to turn into a podcast at some point.
Yeah.
So the good thing is if you listen to the podcast, the last, I think, 50 of them are sponsored by Recluse.
Yeah.
So this content, believe it or not, I don't get out of bed in the morning for free. I get paid. So the last 50 of the episodes that are podcasts are uploaded to YouTube thanks to Recluse, which they've been a good partner in getting those podcasts. And most of my personal bikes have Recluse clutches in them because I want them to be in there. That's the main reason. And I'm really picky about my Recluse setup. If you want your clutch to work better, you just ask for the Jimmy Lewis setup. They hate that because mine engage a little bit low. They drag a little bit. They do all the things that maybe you don't think you want, but I think you do. But then again, what do I know, right?
Yeah. I kind of like them.
Yeah, kind of like the Recluse. You kind of like my setup.
I kind of like your setup,
Yeah.
but I really like the Recluse.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
How come there's no Recluse in that KTM of yours?
It's just money.
Just money.
One
Just
of
money.
those fingers is still pointing at him.
Okay.
Oh, I could have used it this weekend because I had no finger.
So
Oh.
I
speaker.
broke my finger, so.
Oh, did you really break it?
Well, I ain't broke it.
Oh, it looks like mine now. It's got a little
Well, I
fun.
did it. Remember, it folded the wrong way,
Yeah.
so I couldn't really work the clutch right all weekend at all. So I'm really wishing I had one.
Okay. Where are we at, Matt?
Okay. Well, I have a question from the YouTube chat.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So integrating it. So this is from Eli Hamo. We'll go Eli H. I'm really bad pronouncing.
Oh, I see this. I can actually. I went onto my YouTube on my little
Oh.
device here.
Do you want to read it?
Yeah, I'll try. Actually, Logan, why don't you get back to your good job right here? Can you read that one right there? Logan used to get to read questions. Now he's like kind of like dead weight. Like luckily the whole table doesn't tip over and we all slide down the cliff here.
Yeah.
Hey, what do you think of the background, everybody? That's pretty nice. Sweet.
One of the engines is cut off.
Oh,
Yeah, the one right to your right.
yeah. Oh, we'll fix that next time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But you get to see that sweet red one.
DDC Sprockets is bringing you this show. So that's Delaney
Drive components.
Drive Components, ddc.net on the web. They are the longest lasting, most durable stainless steel sprockets you can put on your dirt bike. I have them on the majority of mine. I've never had to replace one yet. Like I said, we have it easy out here in the dry, dusty conditions, but super lightweight for such a durable sprocket. And if you want to know more, go to ddcracing.net and enjoy getting your power to your rear wheel via the good sprocket. So, okay, what was that question from L? What's the name?
Eli Hamu.
Eli Hamu.
Yeah.
You sure?
No, but
Okay.
The 21 TE 300. After 50 hours on the OEM spring forks, I upgraded to WP 6500 inverted revalved front and rear. Right away, much better control with less deflection. How much better are clone valves, KYB, O-lens, etc.?
Cone valves. So he he had his stock forks?
Revalved stock fork. No, the WP 6.
6500. That's
Yeah.
stock fork, right? Is that what they call that thing?
I don't think I don't think it's the stock one.
Let's see, upgraded W. So I think that's an upgraded insert that you can put in the stock forks. Revalved front and rear. Right away, much better control of this. So I think for most normal humans, and we're just talking everybody above people that should be top 5 in the elite racing world, you know, you can get your stock suspension, if you have a really good suspension tuner, revalved to work as good as possibly it needs to for you. So if you have somebody that you can communicate with and you can tell them what you're looking for, if they are a good tuner, they can get it where they need to go. Does that make sense? So when you start adding all these kits and stuff, and you know, which you just add a dollar sign to each level of performance that you are expecting, and usually that makes it work better and better and better and better because you want to feel like your dollars are going there. I deal with a lot of racer kids that tell their dads that they just want the ones with the ones that they see on the factory bikes, and it's a marketing operation. I mean, it really, a lot of times it really is. I mean, those guys, and the more dollar signs on the suspension components need to come with a guy that stands next to the track and tunes that stuff to work exactly for you. Otherwise, if you just buy it, it works quite possibly a lot worse than the stuff that was designed for everybody. Okay? The reason the stock suspensions are in there is they fit the widest amount of riders, and you probably fit in that spectrum a lot more in where they set up over here for the cone valve, you know, stuff. Cone valve does some very specific things, and if you told me my suspension does this and I want it to do this better, I could say yes, cone valve was better, or no, it's not. So, but until you can ask that question, we shouldn't even be really. I don't think we should be talking about this. And I hate to, hate to say that. Those forks, they're, they look bitchin'. They're, they say they have the stickers on the side. I just buy the damn stickers and call it good. Turn your clickers. You can get cone valve like performance out of a stock Husky TE with adding oil to the fork. I know this. I do this on a lot of bikes. Because it's the cone valve. What it does is it really controls the bottoming, and that's what the cone valve is. It's a bottoming, different bottoming system, for the most part. So, yes. Another question?
Yeah, we got. I can keep pulling questions for as long as you want.
Oh, Rick Lieberson wants to know, what is the history of the guitar hanging back there?
He also was going to be my next question.
That was great minds think alike, Matt.
Yeah.
Good. Kind of has a ghost between Logan and.
There's a shout
out.
Yeah.
There's ghosts in here.
It's me from that camera.
Well, we've got to get a lighting guy. We have more lights too. We could fix this thing.
Yeah.
Thanks, Bob. I think it's the nicest things Bob ever said. He's usually just slamming us all the time.
Yeah.
So Rick, the guitar was from a Supercross that I did back in the day. I don't know if it was pro class or industry class, because I used to get shuffled between those two classes, because there was a time when there were so few motocross guys that could actually even paddle a surfboard out into the lineup. I got put in the pro class. And then there was other times that there were enough motocross guys, and they're just like, Jimmy, you're so slow. Fucking, you don't belong in this. You don't belong out on the track with these guys. the motocross one. So it just I don't remember what year that was or whatever, but the 1 year Fender was one of the sponsors that helped put that on. It was always like Jeremy Albrecht from JGR was the main guy behind that from the moto side. And so it was a lot of the same sponsors the JGR teams had at the time that would kind of come and support that event. And so that's what that was. I wish I remembered who my partner was that year because I've had some awesome partners. I've partnered with Sonny Garcia as a surfer, Chava Greenlee. No, is that ever Sonny's partner? No, I was Chava Greenlee's partner a couple times. We always did pretty good, but the waves were always too small because Chava's a monster and needs big waves. Was it Nathan Fletcher? one year I was partnered with him. He showed up smoking cigs and wearing a pink wetsuit for the surf day one day. But good times. What an event. Super cool event.
You said it was a Supercross?
Supercross, yeah.
Yeah,
So
what
so
is
you
that?
you would ride motocross one day. So it was at a lot of different motocross tracks in Southern California, and we'd always go down to one of the trails down in San Onofre and surf down there. And so they combine your moto scores, you and your surfer, and it was usually a team race. So the motocross guy would start, and then you do one lap and pass the wristband off to the surfer, and they do 8-lap moto. So you did all of 4 laps or something. It wasn't a whole lot. And then you'd go down and you'd go both paddle out in the lineup at the same time wearing, your colored vest, and you get scored. And it was just like a regular surf contest, and it was hilarious. It was a lot of fun. It got competitive for sure, especially the industry class, because there's a lot of guys that are good crossover athletes that had some skills. And it was you would draw your partner at the start, which was kind of a cool thing that you didn't really know who your surfer was going to be as a motocross guy, and there was had a lot of top moto guys out there. Jeff Emig, it seemed like it was kind of a regular on those a lot of times, and had a really good time doing that. So that's the history on that thing. We'll see how long it hangs up there. That was the last minute. What time did you do that one at, Logan?
Yeah.
6:50. It's getting hung up there. We'll get more stuff up there. We'll get more cool things. There's a lot of stories behind some of the things that are up there right now that I'm sure we'll get into in other shows. Got any other ones, Matt?
Yeah, so from the YouTube live chat, Dirt Bike Daydreaming, Jimmy, I like the way 9100 fat front tires smooth out the trail chop, but with over a 2-inch increased diameter, the steering is slow. Is there any setup options to compensate for this?
2-inch increased diameter. Is that like diameter around the tire, like around the side of the tire? Is it 2-inch around the total rotation?
I believe it's.
The diameter would be the whole diameter tire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're that tall. I didn't think so either. Or actually maybe the roll. Like if you rolled it, it could be 2 inches longer. If you started and rolled it, that might be the 2 inches. So what I noticed with those tires is they tend to grab. My feeling with the bigger tires is they tend to grab ruts more, but they float better, and it's sort of this kind of it's kind of a trade-off. I don't think I'm a fan of them. I mean, if I were changing, if I were racing and there were certain conditions, there may be some times when I would want to run them, and vice versa. But would I throw one? Me right now, would I throw one on my bike? No. And a lot of it has to do with some of the rotational mass. They are heavier, and you do feel them, which tends to make them a little more stable, but it affects the kind of the side to side and the turn in and the handling of the bike. They climb out of the ruts a little bit more. But let's see, smooth out the trail chop. I've never noticed that. On a mountain bike, when you go from a 27.5 to a 29, it's huge. Like the way that tire rolls over things, and I never really felt that with the bigger front tire. So I think that's kind of what he's getting at. I hope we're going on hopefully we're answering the questions properly. Maybe he can comment back and let us know whether we're getting the diameter part of this question right. Somebody says, I think JL has answered more questions this show than the last 3 combined. Well, that's what I get for needing more tequila, Logan. Here, is this?
I was gonna say you've
isn't
only
this
had one thing. Only one.
Isn't
shot
that
tequila.
illegal? He can't pour that for me, can he?
It's just sugar water, right?
Right, it's sugar water. Go. Actually, can we get that white one over there? Okay, next question. Any
Next
other
question.
Any other ones in the chat?
None in the chat. Let me see if I can pull one. It was just brought to my attention that the audio is out of sync with the video streaming.
Oh, let's see. John Jackson, YouTube Live, finally. Yeah, John. Everybody's got if you can follow John. Yeah, that one. That one's good. Is there something in there?
John Jackson actually had a couple good questions, but he pulled them, so I can't find him anymore.
Oh, I'm pretty sure he comments on a lot of our stuff. He's a good follow on the YouTubes. He follows a lot of the guys and does a lot of the. Here, I'm gonna let you do this. This is a tricky one. Remember when Johnny Campbell tried to pour this?
Yeah.
The black bottle that I won't even let out of the thing. I think it's only showing top chat. There's some funny things happen here. Let's see. Hey. Oh, there's some questions for you to answer here. Is there something in there, or is it empty?
I don't know.
Is that a low tide situation?
George forgot to put his Kirkland in there.
Oh, where's George? Did we
George
not?
is in Alaska.
He's in Alaska.
That's where he posted. Yeah.
Oh, he's in the chat. He's in someplace. Okay.
Well, no, he
This
posted. It on
is a severe problem, Logan. We need to go address this. Yep. Is there another one over there?
Big one upstairs.
Where's the good one?
Yeah, the big one. We can do the big one. It's open. It's good. The good one. You want some, Matt? Oh, yeah. I
I'll
guess that
definitely take
answers
some.
that. I saw. Yeah. You
I can't have too much because I haven't eaten in a very long time.
Don't worry. Those eyes shot laser beams over here. So I'll swing through the questions. Yeah. So Africa Twin Adventure Sports is what the ATAS meant earlier.
I mean, here's a really long one if you want me to ask it.
Is all that wood leftover siding from the Whiskey Throttle show? Wow, Sabotage. That's a good thing. No, I didn't buy this from the Whiskey Throttle show. They have some really good interviews in that show. They do pretty good. I mean, I've known Pingree for a long time. I thought he was hilarious when he was doing his Racer X column
That's fantastic.
as a bike tester. Yeah, there's it's like it's worth what you pay for it generally. I'll just say that. Kind of like what you get around here. Yeah, so Tyrone is my name. Says thanks for the YouTube live channel. Nice new digs. Yeah. So a lot of these people, I think, Logan, what was your age range when riding 65cc dirt bike?
It's a good question.
You got on them pretty quick.
Hey, that's when I met you guys.
Yes.
You guys came out and rode by our school. Like John told you where my school was at. And you guys kind of rode out. And I think you were on was it KX or were you KTM?
That was the KTM.
KTM, yeah.
He did a KX first, and I did the KTM.
So what age?
I don't
So
know.
he was pretty lanky-legged, so he got on there a little early, and
Oh, jeez.
I was way over the KTM 50 stuff. So
Okay, so well, you got to talk now, so I'll pour this myself.
Yeah,
So
okay.
so what was your first bike? What'd you start out on?
So
Little
Was it
little
the-
Logan history here.
the KTM 50?
KTM 50.
Yeah.
And
Then-
KX 65.
Was it? How long was I on that board out 50?
Board out 50.
Yeah, the one Uncle Ricky got me.
It wasn't bored out. I don't know
Oh,
what to
was
say.
it?
It was
That thing was
was
gnarly. Ported. Okay.
boarded and polished. Yeah.
So you started on the KTM 50.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, Dad, that's a mistake. Oh,
It was.
you didn't want to get him a little Z50, a little Honda or something.
Yeah,
PW? No PW. Okay, just so straight to the just rah, rah.
Yeah.
Okay. And then where'd you go from there?
To the KX 65.
So clutch.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Clutch was easy to teach. Shifting,
Shifting didn't work.
no.
No.
Okay.
Pull steep stand-ins in 5th gear and then across dry lakes in 1st gear.
Ah,
Yeah, and that was
Yep.
about 7 years old. He got on a 65.
so
He rode it.
seven years.
2014.
Okay.
I remember that. I was on a.
Yeah, I'd say
KTM.
he rode it from about 7 to 11. Long time on a 65,
Mhm.
not that long on an 85.
Yeah.
Kind of grew through the 85 pretty quick.
Yeah, I don't remember you too much on there. There's that. It was kind of like a 110.
Yeah.
That thing
Yeah.
ran like a molested ape.
Mm-hmm.
Not. That's worse than raped, by the way.
Yeah, it was.
It had.
She was
It had a very TM400 esque power band.
there you go.
Yeah,
Okay.
didn't really seem to.
Yeah, nothing at all.
Yeah, it didn't work. So, yeah, that's Logan's history through, and then on to. You were riding 250F before 125, right?
No, went to 125.
125.
Yeah.
Yep.
Had a 250F, but didn't really ride it.
Right.
Still have it.
Yeah.
You never
Yes.
touched it.
Yep. I got the muffler. I know.
He
Yeah.
does not like four-strokes, it looks like.
He's a two-stroke guy.
I mean, he doesn't like them, that's the wrong word.
Yeah, just grab onto
Yeah.
that two-stroke thing. It makes you such a better, like, co-host figure if you just talk crap on four strokes the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah, they break all the time.
Mm.
Yeah,
Cost more,
cost more.
Yeah.
harder to maintain.
Exactly.
Leave you everywhere, stranded everywhere.
So yeah, hopefully, Michael, that I answered Logan's question for him, but that's what I do.
Hey, so I have a long question that I didn't want to ask because it's really long, but I'll just go ahead and ask it.
Okay.
So it's from Andre Andre S. I have a 2020 KTM 300 XCW. I never use the cold start air bypass since it's hardly ever under 50 degrees in South Carolina. I'll start the bike and let it idle like a minute or so, then slowly rev it a little, off and on for like quarter to maybe half throttle for an additional minute, then off to the trail. Anyway, I'm having an issue with fouling plugs, within 6 hours of riding. Bike has updated KTM map, 002 I think they called it. So on the net some on the net.
See, not everybody can read questions perfect, Logan.
Yep.
So some on the net have said that the bike needs to be totally warmed, like hot radiators, before blipping the throttle and hitting the trail. Bike has 50 hours and has always been like this. Once the spark plug is changed, the bike is great for the first 3 hours, and it slowly starts to foul the plug until it's just a dog. Any ideas?
How long has it been since we fouled plugs? This is it's strange. So again, which bike are we talking about?
2020 KTM 300 XCW. Didn't mention if it was TPI or not.
It is TPI. That's the only way they make them.
They're all fuel injected?
They're all fuel injected
Shows you
at
how
that
long I've
point.
been out of the game.
The SX, but he said, he didn't say whether it was exactly. Did he say
XCW.
XCW? He
Yeah.
said. Okay.
And Chris Brawley has a really long reply to it, but I just thought I should ask it anyway.
Okay. Well, he may know the real answer. I just make this stuff up, right? There may be a real answer out there. I
think he has a real answer. Yeah, I'm looking at it.
It's good because it's just very, very rare that two strokes foul plugs. Now, I don't think there's any certain special warm up technique. I mean, we have super low temperatures out here, and
Yeah.
I had George's bike, which is I think is a 20. Start it up and ride.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'd let it warm up a little bit. I think so the two things that I know, and we'll see if the other answer correlates with this. If you ride infrequently and you don't rev the bike that much when you ride it, in other words, you lug it, you're like Bob, you know Bob's the kind of guy that like goes across the dry lake bed in fifth gear at a super low RPM, just that.
Yeah.
So if you ride like that, if you're really lugging it for a long time while you're riding it, never really getting the power valve to open, never really getting to clean out and come on the pipe, even a fuel-injected KTM TPI bike will load up a little bit, And we all know what loading up is. That's when they don't do it that much anymore, but old two-strokes for sure would. You'd be cruising around through the woods, and you come out on the road, and you go, brrrr, and it comes on, and a bunch of smoke billows out of the thing, and it just goes faster and faster as it carburetes better and better because all the pooled up fuel in the bottom end and that's all gummed up all over the place gets cleaned out with a nice surge through the motor. So if you're riding like that and then you stop and you let this bike sit, that stuff kind of gums up and pools up, and it takes some time for it to sort of clean out. So you imagine it's like I'm trying to think of an analogy for this, but imagine like, you have a really dirty window and you have some window cleaner and you spray a lot on it and it runs off and a lot of the stuff runs down and you kind of have to wipe it off. This is what's happening inside of the engine inside of your motorcycle. And you got to think about it like if you have a lot of stuff, it takes a couple paper towels. That's a couple bursts of throttle that really need to clean out this bottom end. So if you're not cleaning it out and it's constantly getting dirtier and dirtier and dirtier and you're kind of only wiping it once, that could lead to a problem. And sometimes the warm-up, and I don't know how they have these things programmed, but maybe when you start that bike up, it's going to throw a little extra oil like into the motor in order to say, hey, I don't want it to be dry inside here. I know there's a prime cycle that you do with the tool to make sure that the oil's primed, the startup cycle. But yeah, so it might be rich in the initial startup just to make sure there's enough oil in there. And over time, that could actually compound, and that could cause the fouling of the plugs. But after, what he said, 5 or 6 hours, then the plug fouls?
Yeah.
I think he's riding like Bob used to.
I'm worse.
Well, yeah, that's understandable, but yeah. So, okay, what was the official answer?
It's really long. I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'll sum it up
Summarize.
best I can. Is you got to change? Chris had said changing 2 sensors. The crankcase and ambient pressure sensor was the likely fix.
Oh, okay. So if there's a problem,
Yeah.
right? So I have heard. So I've heard of some, very few crankcase pressure sensors going bad, and I've heard of the. Yeah. So, but generally they just read out of spec. They'll read a little bit out of spec. And I've also heard of the hose that goes between the sensor and I'm trying to think of where that one is. There was sometimes the hose was actually plugging the hose in between when guys were really lugging them, or they kind of flooded it, not flooded it, but really plugged it with oil and stuff. It had gotten a little bit in the hose.
Yeah.
So the fitting, which can easily be cleaned out, you just clean it out. And
Just like any cleaner like WD-40 or
just
contact
pump
cleaner?
something through it so that if there's any blockage in it, it's not affecting the reading that the sensor's getting.
Okay.
So,
Sweet. Well, there you go.
yeah. So hopefully that's the good thing about this show is a lot of times somebody that really knows the answers, a lot of times will kind of chime in and add to it. So
Yeah.
I'll just give you the best answer I can come up with off the top of my head.
Go faster.
Crowdsourcing. Yeah, just twist the throttle farther, bro. That is the
Yeah.
hey, that's the one.
You're not wrong.
Clean it out. Every once in a while, just ride it 2 gears low and let it rev. You're not going to hurt it. Actually, here's a really good thing to do. Here's your riding tip. I usually give a riding tip on this show, right? Some riding tip.
Why I'm here.
A what?
So, yeah, that's why I'm here.
That's why you're here. Oh, you're here for the riding tips. Only here for the riding tips. You had to wait. How many hours are we into this show? 2 hours yet?
No, hour and 36 minutes.
Wow, it's flying by.
Yeah.
Here's your riding tip of the show. Brought to you by.
JLR Off-Road.
Right. Where do you find us?
JimmyLewisOffroad.com.
Perfect. Yeah. And be on the lookout for our soon-to-be-launched online riding series that we've been working tirelessly on. And hopefully you answered one of our questionnaires, and you might get access to some early content. So check out our very rarely updated website to learn more. We'll maybe put a post up there about that.
And also, if you did take the survey and you did answer, you were willing to participate in the testing.
Beta testing, yeah.
Yeah, expect to hear from us relatively shortly.
Cool. So here's the thing you can do, and everybody should do this. It's just a good practice drill. So you're on your bike, and you're just gonna, let's just say we're gonna put it in second gear, and I want you to lug the bike down to where it's going tuk, 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 almost stalling in second gear, and then roll the throttle on. Just roll it on and keep rolling on until you get to the end of the throttle cable. Make sure you're doing this a place where you're not going to run into your wife's car or a cow or a car coming the other direction. Go out someplace where you have some. I want you to feel the full pull of the throttle, like what it starts from down at lugging it, all the way to where the bike goes into over rev or valve float, depending 2-stroke, 4-stroke, whatever it is. Like get an experience for your entire power band. Like learn how far it'll rev, because I know a lot of people. Everybody talks about wide open, and they're wide open, but they're nowhere near peak RPM. And second gear will give this to you. It'll let you experience low RPM to where it'll torque off the bottom, and that's very important too, because a lot of riders, they're so afraid the bike's going to stall, they slip the clutch, like when the bike's making plenty good power and they don't trust the torque of the motorcycle. A Recluse clutch will teach you this, but you may stall a couple times in lugging the bike down and then learning how to bring the throttle on. Fuel injected bikes are really good at this. It's carbureted ones you have to work on. But do a full pull of throttle slowly. Just let it rev and build and build and build and build and build all the way to where you feel the power start peaking and tapering off. And in doing this, you will learn about your power band. And then you do it slow one time. And then maybe you do it fast one time where you realize, and especially on a carbureted bike, you can do it too fast and the bike bogs or hiccups or does something wrong. And then you can do this in first gear. And you realize that turning the throttle either spins the wheel or it loops you out. And you can do it in third gear, and you realize that turning the throttle this way either bogs the bike or it produces better acceleration because of traction. And this is something that you can do. And if you're having problems with fouling plugs, you realize that, hey, I can rev my bike up like this and it doesn't blow up every time I do it. You go, hey, there's a lot more stuff I have in my motorcycle. I bought all this performance and I'm not using it. So, and then you quit fouling spark plugs just by cleaning out. So every once in a while, you just ride around. You can ride around for 10 or 15 minutes. All it takes is one, you come out in an open section and instead of shifting, just let her rev. Cleans it out. Bang, good. 4-strokes don't have this problem for the most part.
570s, so Craig made a good point. Don't try that on a Husqvarna 570.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I actually did try that on a 570 once when I was probably Logan's age, and he told me to take the 570 out during the class.
Does Matt not get a bell ding when he talks 570? Come on, it's not just me.
Yeah, I almost looked that thing out.
Yeah, best
Third
bike.
gear, yeah.
The more horsepower than anybody deserves to ever ride with.
I know I've asked you this before. I think on the show too. Is why didn't that engine keep getting used? They didn't use that engine design anymore. Was it cost or?
Have you ever worked on one of those?
No, I have not.
Oh, that's why.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah. Work on it once, and you realize that it's not a MotoGP bike, and we can make a KTM 500 that gives you. I'll give them 50% of the performance, just on a long shot, and just so much easier to work on. So yeah.
I have a question for you that I spent the entire show trying to remember this question.
Did it
have you
hurt?
heard anything on beta motocross bikes? Are they out yet?
They make one. I believe they're riding them in the EMX series. Yeah, they're out. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know some of the motocross magazines have had them.
Okay, yeah.
Saw one in Vegas.
Oh yeah. It's funny because I remember when, not Beta, but when Gas, when they were still a Spanish gas company, they really, because they knew the motocross market was the hot thing in the States, and they were really trying to build a motocross bike. And I tested some of their MC 250s back in the day, and to think how hard they were trying to do it, and now all of a sudden they're there. It didn't take much, but
Winning Supercrosses.
There we go.
Let's see. I saw a question here about.
Christian had one about tube sizes.
Well, A. Mancine on YouTube. He has. I need glasses.
You're kind of looking
Yeah, it's because it's S Machine.
Massine. Jimmy, what's the story on the PVC deletes? Is it a total dumbass idea on a 500? So PCV. So that's the positive crank ventilation. It's the charcoal canister and the recirc and stuff like that. It's all the stuff that your car has on it. It doesn't affect performance. So if you want to take it off, it's going to, if you take it off, there's things you can put on there. And who's the show brought to you by? The other one? The guy in Vegas? the guy?
Takamoto?
Takamoto.
Yeah.
So Takamoto has probably most of the information you will need on this subject. They actually have, and the reason I got introduced to Takamike was through a white sheet that he had. He kind of laid out all the different things. And it was on a little bit older KTM 500, but he talked about, and it was one of the most accurate things is all the different modifications you could do and the results and the pros and cons. It was a well done white sheet is what I would call it. So I don't know if he has it for the new ones, and it kind of depends specifically on which year you're talking about for this particular PCV delete. But on all of my KTM 500s and my 350s and my 250, that stuff is still on the motorcycle. It's still there. I've relocated it on some of them because I'm running bigger tanks and things like that. But all that stuff is not doing anything or hurt anything, and it hasn't hurt or harmed anything that I can tell. In fact, on the older ones, and I don't have a ton of experience on the new ones. I do have a 2020 KTM 500, which is still on. I haven't played with. But on the older ones, when they very first started doing this stuff, the bike was actually relying on some of the fuel vapors coming out of the charcoal canister to enrichen the bottom end performance. So, we talk about these bikes being lean because it's sucking that stuff back in through the intake. Well, it was using that. And so everybody wants to richen the bottom end up. You take that stuff off, you're just going to make it leaner. And I'm pretty sure the new ones are doing the same thing. That's what that system is designed to do. So I won't call it a dumbass move. It really depends on what you're trying to do. The system works for the bike doing what it's supposed to be doing. Could it use more fuel? Some of the times, yeah. To run cooler, is the stuff restrictive? Yeah. Does it increase the heat? Yes. There's all kinds of stuff, but there's smart ways to do it. And I'm not the first guy to just go, I'll throw the ECU away and do this. I want to know what your problem is, what you're trying to accomplish, and see if doing what you want to do is the solution to what the problem actually is. I have found most of the time that the best solution to all these problems is, you want to answer this question, Logan?
Stock or look at the owner's manual?
No, but you're riding your bike and you want something out of it. What do you usually want? Like more power?
Power.
And what do you do?
Spend the $1,000 on your Google form.
No.
Or just twist your throttle.
Yeah, that's easier. Yeah, just twist the throttle. That's right there, from right out of the horse's mouth. So hopefully that helps the question there. Martin Gomi, hey, says congratulations to 100 show. Go Taco Moto. Yeah. How are you doing on those podcasts that you got to upload?
My drive's here.
Your drive is here.
Yeah.
Oh, so you haven't been able to do it.
No.
If it's here, you can come here.
Yeah.
There's computers that work here. Less distractions. I mean, have you ever seen a cartoon playing on the TV here?
No.
No. You get to ride a dirt bike here. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But it's like a hairdryer outside.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what's the excuse? You got to wind up the excusatron.
Yeah.
I have been using the computer with Premiere on it a lot lately. I mean, so there's that.
Yeah, it's warmed up and ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get that done. Takamoto would love that. And you know what comes when we get that done?
Money?
A check. Yeah.
Speaking of checks, have you done KTM or Honda read yet?
I think we did the KTM one. We did the Honda
KTM.
one. I did.
No Honda.
Yeah, I read it.
Oh, yeah, you did.
Were you asleep?
Yeah. Well,
I
was fixing
reading
your-
questions, so I don't know what you have or haven't done.
Yeah,
I'm kind
no.
of checking all the boxes.
No, it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've done all those. I'm going to tell you about Climb Gear.
Yeah?
Did you see that awesome Climb Gear I was wearing this weekend, Logan?
yeah.
It was vented,
Mm-hmm.
and it had a pocket. Oh, I forgot to post. I've got you in my pocket.
Yeah.
Okay. Where's that going? It's on YouTube, right? No, Instagram.
Instagram.
Okay, so nobody's on Instagram. So all the people on all these other platforms, it's going to be top secret.
Yep.
I'm gonna do this when I get off the show. I'm gonna release I've got you in my pocket of a WR250, sending it in a special test.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've got it. So check out our episode series on the YouTubes. I've got you in my pocket. And what were we talking about? What was the How do we get down this road?
I was just asking what sponsor reads you
Oh,
send me.
sponsor
Yeah.
reads. Yeah, so sponsors
Climb.
Climb. Oh, the Climb gear with the vented gear.
Climb.
Yeah.
The cool thing when I have that vented gear on, it's so vented, you can actually see the stuff outside of the pocket. It's not just like
Yeah.
a black thing. Did I tell you about the guy who sent me an email that said it would be better? I could use a GoPro.
You said that 5 seconds after you put it in your pocket. You went, oh, you can see through that. Someone's gonna comment. I
That-
need a GoPro.
I need a GoPro. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
an audio experience.
Yeah.
That's why it's called I've Got You in My Pocket. I mean, I could take my GoPro off my helmet and put it in my pocket too,
Yeah.
but that's different. So, okay, everybody. I think we're wrapping this up unless Matt has more questions for us.
There's only one more question. It's about tire tubes, but
Tire tubes.
yeah, we can wrap it up though if you want.
No, tire tubes sound good.
All right, cool. So this is from Christian G. Could you explain tube size? They're a bit of a mystery for a 110/90 19 rear, a 3.5 4.0 to 19 will fit. This tube width and diameter are the only sizes that matter when picking a proper. Is tube width and diameter? I missed the is. The only sizes that matter when picking a proper fitting tube. The ratio aspect doesn't matter like it does for tire sizes.
Ooh. Did you watch me mix two-stroke oil this
Yes.
weekend? Yeah.
Yeah, and I also saw you put it probably where you shouldn't have put it.
The two-stroke oil?
Well, the two-stroke gas.
Oh, no. Any four-stroke can have two-stroke gas. It's fine. Did it
Okay.
slow that bike down?
No.
No, it's still hauled ass.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we had a little extra two-stroke gas, and I poured it in the Yamaha WR250. Ran perfect. It's no problem. It's not people stress out. So, anyways, I mix two-stroke gas generally kind of like this, and it's from experience, from years of experience. I'm doing it. It's pretty close, and
Yeah.
I've actually tested it because I'll go like, okay, 100 cc's like that, pour it into a race right and check it.
Yeah.
And I kind of it's feel. It's like when you see a really good chef just sprinkle the right amount of seasoning on something.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's the way I do things a lot of times. So tube sizes, if the tube fits, run it.
If it fits, it sits.
Yeah, if it fits, it sits. So if I have put 19-inch tubes and 18-inch tires plenty of times because there was a long time when it was really easy to get 19-inch tubes and 18s were hard to come by. The diameter stuff, for sure, if you have the opportunity to get a matching tube size to your tire, why not? But all of my 18-inch tubes are, I don't even know what size they are. They're just they're the tubes I get from Kenda that are the 18-inch size tubes, and I run them in 3 or 4 different tire sizes. So I don't think it's that particular. I'll tell you what I find more particular is that if you have the opportunity to put some baby powder in there, if you're in drier conditions, it really helps to kind of like let the thing settle. But if you put it, I always found that it's way worse to put a really big tube into a small tire because then they fold up and then they might dry out and those folds tend to pinch a little bit easier. And so, take that for what it's worth. If you have the opportunity to put the right size tube in, do it. And if you don't, just stuff whatever you have in there. And I put mini bike tubes inside of big bike wheels, and Bob's raising his hand over here.
Most tubes have a range,
Yeah, well, they're expanding and contracting
so
and
that on the box it'll tell you the range of tire.
range of tire. Yeah, the right size is the best size. But if you have so I just went. I wonder where this is where my mind goes. Like, I wonder where this question came from. Is he sitting there looking at a 19-inch tube to throw into the 18-inch tire, or the 18-inch tire tube to throw into the 19-inch tire, which will work, by the way.
I think he was more. I think the question was more about the ratios.
The ratios, yeah. The metric system versus the call it imperial system. Yeah.
Yeah.
American.
I don't know that it's. I mean, it's what was it? 410 by 18.
Yeah.
The old whatever the size it was. I think you're kind of you're okay with whatever if it fits. Yeah, wear it. That should be the good thing. There was something else came to my mind about fitting this stuff in, but I carry a 21-inch tube when I'm only carrying a single tube when I'm out riding, and I've finished plenty of rides with the 21-inch tube and the 18-inch tire. So it manages to get the job done.
Yeah. Not a question, but they praised me, so I want to put it in.
Oh,
It's
really?
from Rusty Nail. Yeah. I get to pat myself on the back now.
Right.
Huge upgrade to the show. Great work, guys. Producer, he put Mike, though.
Oh,
Producer Mike.
yeah. Hey, Mike.
Yeah. Not producer Matt. It's an excellent addition. So.
Actually, I'm gonna do something just for the show because we are kind of wrapping this thing up. But I'm gonna grab the camera and so Matt's sitting in the old desk I used to. Jimmy can do this. So take that light, that one over there, that light, and just point it over at Matt.
Yeah.
There we go. It'll drop us out a little bit, and then grab the Jimmy cam. Go ahead and go to Jimmy cam and just follow it in there.
I'm gonna put it on Jimmy Cam. I'll put it when you put it down.
We could.
Just show them the wires that this.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, here, let me put the. Yeah, there's the wires.
Yeah, go to the
Yeah.
go to the Jimmy
When
cam
people
live.
see me,
Yeah.
maybe they can understand why I didn't catch the audio being out of sync until it was really late into the show. I literally, I have 1 year listening to them and 1 year listening to them again.
So there's Matt over on the side for all you guys. But good job.
Yeah,
Thanks
15
for thanks for joining in. It's been a pretty awesome show actually. I did get a chance to answer a lot of questions this time, right, Logan?
Yeah.
Logan is going to work on his show notes, and believe it or not, on show 101, which is our new season, so it's the second
Yeah.
season of Tech Talk Taco Tuesday.
Season 2.
We will have a format. I'm pretty surprised at how well this thing went.
I am too. With the audio being out of sync, if that's the only issue, then I think we're doing good.
Yeah, there's some latency issues and things like that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff we can learn. We'll get better, and we'll put up a post generally. So here's how this is going to work. We'll post up on the Tuesday. I think we're going to take a Tuesday off next week because I have to go. Actually, I have to present in front of the Nevada OHV Commission about the motocross track we're building in Pahrump. So I am not going to be able to be here, which is good because this town needs a OHV facility. It'd be super awesome. So we probably skip next week, but I'm planning on coming back the next week. We're going to hit it. Logan's going to do all his homework. We're going to get these formats all dialed in. He'll have his segment where he does some marketing operations for us, and we'll have other things all tightened up, right, Matt?
Oh yeah. I'll learn the software, so I won't be frantically asking Jimmy questions and watching YouTube tutorials while we're setting up.
Yeah. So again, you would typically we put up a post where you can pre-ask your questions. It likely goes on our Facebook page because that's the one that most people for us are trafficking across. Maybe we'll throw it up on Instagram, although Instagram we can't go live here. And then you can ask the question. We'll put them in the queue. We'll make sure we answer those ones first. We'll go through our segments, and then we'll start answering the questions that we get on the forum. But everything considered, I think it was pretty good. I'm pretty stoked on how Matt did.
Pretty stoked on how you guys did. Our live studio audience was good as well.
Yeah, thanks to the questions and everything. Hey Logan, remember when you were upside down underneath that Beta 300 this weekend?
Yeah.
You were kind of like it was flopped
No.
up like this, and I was just standing there. Did you hear me heckling you?
The KTM or the beta?
The Beta. Yeah, the
Beta?
Beta when you went up the hill and it kind of got sideways, then it went and landed where you had a hard time picking it up.
Yeah.
And then you tried to pick it up like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
You heard the heckling, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Tonight's performance is a little bit like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to come back a little stronger because you learned from that experience, right?
Yeah.
Did you see how me and your dad and Preston jumped off our bikes and ran to help you?
Yep.
You did? You saw us run to help you.
No.
Did we move at all?
No.
No? Yeah, okay. So,
Well, your mouth did, but not.
okay, everybody, with that, that's the banger that we wanted on the show tonight.
All right.
We're gonna see you out on the trail. So, cheers, everybody.